Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I respectfully invite the distinguished lecturer, Mr. Kola Oluboji, the Chief Executive Officer, Background Check International, BCI, to deliver the convocation lecture.
impact meeting the international foundation line and raising South Africa. Additionally, children and crucial and review and how critical able technology is in Israel connecting to one of the contact member of the National Biological Application, PSC, European, and advisory board member of the International Union Association, USA, and the Union of the US Department of State, the National Solar Commission, IBNP. He is a member of the prestigious organization such as the Foundation for Applied for Examiners, ABNP, Agents Outlets, International and Nigeria, Agency for Broker Theology, AII. Government succeeds by organizing the appointments of CABCs for the African Union of the Year. Recipients of PSR National Development checks, spending and verification services. The Rotary International Chamber Monitoring is also the leader of the Nigeria Media Award, the most outstanding Barbara Church Personality of the Year. Beyond this professional opportunities, following the instant administration, farming speaker, workshop opportunities, and contact dedicated to everything imparting the life of others. A common to morality and blessings to questions. This is distinguished parents, his daughter, his family admission, with communication lecture, is not all that the information is very interesting. On the previous integration, that would be the president of the defense, university for this place.
Then the second jam, I still wanted to do medicine, and jam gave me their own result. So that was how I ended up doing something else. I studied demography and social statistics in Obafemi Awolowo University. All right. So I think it's a big privilege and honor for me. I'm a public speaker. I've spoken in different places, but this is the first time I'm handling a convocation lecture in any university. And you know, the first university I will be speaking in is the University of Medical Sciences. So I can tell them, even though I didn't study medicine, but I'm giving lecture in the university, the first university in Nigeria that is purely for medical sciences and other fields. So it's a very big honor for me to be here. And of course, I express my deep appreciation to the Vice Chancellor. This is our first time of meeting. Someone is coming up with his book, and I think he was conducting his research, and somebody told him, you need to speak to Kola Olubodi. And we only spoke on the phone and connected so easily. And then I sent a copy of my book to him. And I don't know what Professor Adeshegun Fatusi read in the book. And then the next moment he said, you're going to be the one to speak at the 5th convocation. So thank you so much, Professor Fatusi. I'm so grateful. Of course, let us collectively celebrate the achievement of this esteemed institution, a beacon of knowledge, innovation, and talent nurturing. Today, as we witness the culmination of years of hard work and dedication in the form of these graduating students, we cannot help but feel a sense of pride in the contribution this institution has made to the field of medical sciences and beyond. And of course, to the graduating students, great Nigeria students, I wanted to say the greatest Bagba, and then the greatest Gogo. You know, I came from Ife. They would say the greatest Shinwon, Abi, and the greatest what? The one I love is the greatest. All right. So nice to be standing before you. I go to universities a lot. I love youth, and I'll be speaking from my heart to you today. All right. So your journey has been one of perseverance, dedication, and intellectual growth. As you stand on the precipice of a new chapter, remember that you carry not just a degree, but legacy of excellence. Please remember that. And of course, let me just go to the essence of my discussion today, building resilience, nurturing creativity, and thriving in challenging times. I will try not to follow this because of time, and then you already have it with you. And I'll be speaking directly to the graduating students. But first, let me congratulate the parents and the guidance for how much you have invested on this, your children. You will reap your reward over them in Jesus' name. All right. Now, for you graduating students, one of the confusions that, of course, is always days like this is a day of joy. Then a tomorrow will come. And then the question will just pop up. So where do we go from now? So what next? Yes, we know NYSC. For the medical doctors, I know you go for your housemanship and then service. The question now is, where do we go from now? Where do we go from here? In Nigeria, where it seems as if many things are not working. Unemployment rate is so high. Inflation is so high. Things seem not to be falling in place. Insecurity is high. Everything seems not to be falling in place. So I won't be surprised if someone is already thinking, after my NYSC, I know what I will do. You know, there was a man, a young man, he got to the airport, and he now did a video. Said, now I'm at the airport, oh, I'm holding my passport. There is a ticket inside of it. I'm just at the airport. I'm not going anywhere. And then the next video, he was already in Canada. So maybe some of you are already thinking, Japa is the next thing. All right. For some of you, maybe that's where God has in mind for you. But for some of us, you may feel that you're unfortunate if you remain here. I want to tell you, no, you are not. No, you are not. Once upon a time, I was going to also Japa from this country. I felt nothing was working. And then I met one of my mentors, be my elder brother. They always mix our pictures. His picture was part of the pictures they put up there as my own. We are like twins. And then he told me, said, Kola, don't go anywhere. The real thing is happening in Nigeria here. Let's stay here. Reluctantly, I accepted what he said, and I stayed here. I graduated 36 years ago, and I can stand before you and I can say there are a lot of good things happening in Nigeria. And I'm not cajoling you. I'm not a politician, and I don't think I will ever be. Who knows what will happen some years after now? A lot of good things are happening in Nigeria. Anytime you see a society where things are not working, that is the society where there are a lot of opportunities. For every problem in this country, I tell you, there are opportunities. A lot of innovative businesses are springing up in Nigeria on daily basis. And they just need to do it for like 5 years. And the next thing, they're already into their hundreds of billions. There are opportunities here. Is somebody listening to me? Let's stay here. No, I'm not saying you should stay and not travel. By God's grace, I have free access to go to America anytime because I'm a guest and a friend of the US government. You understand? But the beauty of it is that, I tell you sincerely, I make more money in Nigeria doing business with Americans, with Canadians, with UK people than people even residing over there. I tell you the truth. So I just want to share 10 values with you. 10 things I want you all to inculcate as you're leaving this place today. 10 values that I'm so sure will sustain you beyond what you can ever imagine. And of course, I can share these values because these are the things that have propelled my life to this point. The first one is self-discovery, the Kando spirit or resilience, doggedness, persistence, the entrepreneurial mindset. We have entered into the era and the age of entrepreneurship. We have entered into the age of artificial intelligence, the age where technology is changing a lot of things, even to the medical field and other even fields of you graduating here today. This is the season of entrepreneurship. If you are thinking of any other thing, begin to think entrepreneurship. How do I add technology? How do I add artificial intelligence to whatsoever thing I've been taught in UNIMED. Is somebody listening to me? All right. Then, of course, the G factor, the God factor. Actually, that's the number one. I got to the VC's office yesterday and I saw it there, the G factor. And I say, yes, that's what can sustain you in life, more especially in a time like this. And then, of course, creativity, fighting spirit, thinking big, grit to glory. Of course, you'll be wondering what happened to my leg. I had polio when I was age 2, and I've lived for 57 years after that. So I'll be 59 this year. I'm in a country where people living with disability are disadvantaged. There's a country where people living with disability are unfortunate. That should have been my story today. But something happened when I was age 8. Our father took us to our village for Christmas when I was 8. And that year, they were having the masquerade festival for the village. So one of those days, we just went out, myself and some of my cousins, I think one or two of my relatives, siblings. And we got to a point and suddenly we had this drumming. And immediately the drumming started, everybody started running helter-skelter. And of course, we came from Lagos and we were asking, what happened? Why is everybody running? And somebody just told us, he said, that masquerade that just came out is not supposed to meet anybody on the road. Nobody should be, you should not see anyone, nobody should see it. And so everybody ran. And everyone we left my family compound together, they also ran. And then suddenly I was supposed to run. And almost for the first time in my life, of course, I was 8 years old. I discovered I had. Then never thought, right, what is the mic that is, you will hear me. Okay, let me use. All right, can you hear me now? All right, so for the first time, I discovered that I had a problem. I could not run. Everybody ran, and the only way I could run was to hop on my right leg. That was okay. The left leg is paralyzed, still paralyzed up to today. And of course, trying to run, hopping on the right leg, I kept on falling over. And at the point I started screaming, I started crying. I was just asking for help. Somebody help me. And that day it was every man for himself, God for us all. Nobody helped. Of course, I was crying. I was 8 years old. And a realization came to me. First, I discovered that, man, you have disability. You can't walk. You are not like them. And that day, I was young. I can't ever forget up to today. I just said, all right. So this is the way life is. In life, when you think you need people most, they will desert you. I won't trust people again. I will rely on people again. Of course, I was crying like a small child, never knowing that that thing was going to guide my life up into my 50s. Of course, the masquerade, I wasn't looking back. I never knew that the masquerade has taken another turn. I was still trying to run and falling over. And until somebody walked up onto me, then I realized, Mr. Man, but no, something happened in me. That day was a day of discovery for me. I knew myself. I knew my problem. And that day I told myself, I'm going to make it in life. This disability is not going to hinder me in life. I'm going to make it. I was young, but I meant it. So I remember that after we left the village and got back to Lagos, before that time, I hardly do any chores in the home. Don't let him sweep. He has a bad leg. He can't fetch water. He has a bad leg. So when we got back to Lagos, somehow, when they say, no, he can't sweep, I say, let me try. No, he can't fetch water. So we also follow them and fetch water. Then I'll put it on my head. And then, of course, then I walk like this. And then the water will almost pour out of the bucket. Maybe like 1/4 will remain. Then when I get home, I say, yes, I did it. I just discovered that this candle spirit just came upon me. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I no more allow anybody to pity me. Before then, I enjoyed a lot of pity, but no more from that day. Because another day will come, masquerade will pursue. You will not pity me when you run away. So don't pity me. Let me start learning how to do things. And then that was how I was growing up. And suddenly my father started teaching my siblings how to drive. Interestingly for me, our parents gave birth to 9 of us. 8 of us are guys. The last one is the girl. Of course, in Africa, they were pursuing the girl. They wanted to have that girl at all costs. So they had her. My father started teaching the guys how to drive. I happened to be the third. Then he taught the first, then the second. Then there was a skip, and then went to the fourth, and then the fifth. I said, sir, you have made a mistake. Èmi ló kàn. And then my father said, Kolaole, you can't drive this type of cars. It's automatic. It's manual. When you grow up, he was praying, God will bless you. Then you will buy automatic. Then you will know how to drive. I just smiled. Because by that time, I no more want anybody to tell me you cannot. I hope you are learning something. I'm actually talking to the graduates primarily. Please don't let anybody write you off. Don't let anybody look down on you. If I could make it with my disability, you can do more. Are you listening to me? I started, anytime my father parked his car in front of the house, I started practicing how I will use the right leg, the only leg that is alive, to drive a 3-pedal car. And with time, I discovered that I can actually use my left hand to press the bad leg that is left, press it on the clutch, and suddenly the clutch will go down. And then I can quickly use my right hand to change the gear. And I started practicing, and suddenly I discovered I could drive the car. Even though the first day that I drove it, I almost killed myself. I was driving it on the street before then, so I told myself, now you can drive. So I decided to link the road, and I discovered that it was different. I discovered that this time it wasn't you alone driving, there were other cars. And suddenly I got a railroad, and the train was coming, and I didn't know what to do. And I just got to the railroad, and then the car just stopped. And everything I did to move it was just not happening. And then people gathered and said, Bosile, get down, leave the car and run away. And my head was saying, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And at the point I realized the car was in gear 3, and that was why it was jacking to the front and jumping back. So I quickly changed to gear 1, pressed the clutch like I used to, released it, and the car just jumped off the rail. The train went behind me, and I told myself, this life is not ending yet. I'm telling you all this because you need to know yourself. You need to be somebody that keeps saying that I can do it. I can do it. If others are doing it, I can do it. Persist in your life. You know, I remembered going after graduating from university, I served, and I want to advise a lot of you. I knew I didn't have chances. So I knew that I have to put so much into the place where they will post me for service. And then they posted me to National Population Commission, Abeokuta. That was when the government was preparing for the 1991 census. So I was posted there. They asked for 10 coppers. And the day I resumed, the director was so disappointed because he wanted 10 coppers. Now he has just 9 coppers and a half. So I was the half. And well, he said, you'll be doing the office work for us. And I was just saying, you will soon know me, sir. So opportunity came. They were doing demarcation of Ogun State. And I was posted. I had to ask and beg, please let me go to the field. Say, no, your condition. I said, so don't worry my condition. And that was how I got posted to the field and ended up becoming the best copper. So I was one of those retained, you know, but my salary was 640 naira. And I said it was too small. So after like 3 years, I started looking for another job. Then I went to a private company. I sent my application to the company. They invited me for an interview. Of course, people have been entering into the room and coming out, spending like 30, 40 minutes. And immediately I stepped in with my walking stick. The panelists looked at themselves. I saw pity on their faces. And the head of the panel said, oh, Mr. Lugori, you are welcome. We will not waste your time. We'll make sure you are out of here in the next 5 minutes, you know. And I smiled. I smiled. If you don't know yourself, people will call you any name and they will kick you around anyhow. And you just keep pitying yourself. All right, so I sat down. But I did something very creative, which I want you to start doing. I knew they were going to discriminate me when I enter. I knew it. I knew they were not going to give me any chance to talk before they write me off. So when I was going to send my CV and my application, I didn't send a 3-paragraph application. I wrote a 4-page application. So what did I write there? I preempted all the questions they want to ask. So, Mr. Lugori, can we meet you? So I introduced myself with my application, with all the things I've done, all my achievements, you know. So I wrote everything. What are your weaknesses in life? Of course, my first weakness is the bad leg, but it's not an obstacle. Despite the bad leg, I've achieved this. I was the best copper. I was the first of all my mates to be promoted, even when I first started working. So I wrote all those things. So when I entered, they were searching for my CV. They could not locate it. Then they remembered that they put it aside and said, we want to know the guy that wrote this type of application. So they say, oh, you're the one. I said, oh, you have just started. So they said, man, your condition, how are you able to do this? So I just started enjoying myself. Then I was the one checking the time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, you know, and then later they sent for the CEO. And I knew why they sent. It's like, if we tell you that this is the guy we are employing, you will say, of all these ones, why this snail? And then the CEO came and I was employed. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you don't know yourself, If you don't know what you want to do with your life, you will discover that you are not even going anywhere. And even if you're not jackpot, they will kicking you around there also. Because you don't have choices over there the way you have choices in Nigeria. I can tell you that. You don't. You don't. So please, and of course, the last place I worked was a bank before I went into my business. And one of those days I was in the bank and was gisting with some of my friends. And one of them just fired a Yoruba proverb. He just said, "Ishede omo alasheje, owore omo alashela." Of course, I grew up in Lagos, so I hear those things, but I don't understand them. So I asked him, "What is the meaning of this proverb?" And he said, "Work has come. Now you can eat. But business has come. Now you can be wealthy." On the strength of that single proverb, of course, it wasn't immediately. After a while, I resigned from the bank and I said I was going into my own business. Now I resigned. I didn't know the business to start. And I was looking around and I say, so what are people doing around? Please don't make that mistake. I made a mistake. Entered into a business I thought people were doing around. The business was doing well. Suddenly it nosedived. I was neck deep inside debt. And it was so terrible. It was so terrible. But you see, I've always told myself, anything you try, whether it works or it fails, you must always congratulate yourself. Because some will never try. You understand? So after the business failed, I told myself, so how do I get out of this? And I told myself, you are owing so much. So if you say you want to go and find a job now, you can't pay your debt. So go continue in business. Then I started a lot of other businesses, going from one to the other, and everything kept on failing until a particular year, after I'd failed many times, and everybody was saying Happy New Year. It was the first week in January. I just told myself, this year, I think I need the help of God. And that's why I put the G factor there. So these days I can sing. You are my G for life. I dedicate my life, Abi, to you, my not guy, God. Even the road may be what? Oh yeah, continue. I will never, never. Abi? Our daddies may not know that song. Imagine. All right. Please. Yes, clap for yourself. Please, you can't go far in life without God. You understand? Please allow Him to lead you. That was the year 2001. And I started praying. And you know the interesting thing? That was the year the Lord gave me the idea of background check. God said, you're going to do a new thing. Nobody is doing it in Nigeria. And the same way I say to somebody here today, you're going to start something new in Nigeria, not far from today. Nobody is doing it yet. In fact, their minds have not carried it yet. That thing is waiting for you. Are you listening to me? All right. And that was how I dabbled into a business that nobody was doing in Nigeria. The idea came, and I started going around to get the approval of people. I said, I have this idea. They said, explain it. So I explained it. Someone said, who is doing it in Nigeria? I said, I've done my research. Nobody is doing it. The person said, actually, that's the problem. if this thing is going to work in Nigeria, somebody would have been doing it before you. You are going to hear such things when some wonderful ideas start coming to you. Of course, I didn't listen to them. I didn't listen to them. I went ahead. I was dogged. I didn't even have so much money then. So please don't say until I have plenty money. I didn't even have money to buy a laptop. So one of my cousins, his sitting room was my first office. His desktop was my first computer. His printer was what I used to print my proposals. Thank God that I used my father's car to teach myself. So I was driving around Lagos dropping proposals. So I was the CEO, I was the dispatch rider, I was the secretary. I could not even afford anything. And you know what? The job started coming in. The job started coming. And some of the people have told about this before. Some have laughed, some have wondered, and they saw the business working. And they said, Kola, this business seemed to be working. I said, yes, I told it was going to work. And then suddenly they started gathering around me and they said, can we partner with you? I said, why not? I tell you, when you have good ideas, money will run after good ideas. Then people started, so we decided to do private shares, and then 1,000, 250, 2 million. And for the first time, we got an office. So I moved from being the only staff to having 5 staff. Later, we got a bigger place, increased to 10. Now we've increased to 100. Now we work across Nigeria. We work across the globe, actually. Is somebody listening to me? If I could do anything with disability, I keep saying it, you can do more. You can do more. The first time I was going to travel out of Nigeria was when an association in America got to know that somebody was doing background check. And this happened to be the first one in Africa, actually. And so they said, would want you to come over to US. Come teach us how you do background check in Nigeria, in Africa. You know, to them, Africa is one country, whether Nigeria or Ghana. All right. So that's where you want to go. All right. And it was after I went, I remembered going to the embassy, and the young man that was interviewing me, American guy, said, so why do you want to go to our country? I said, I'm invited as a speaker in a conference. He said, what type of conference? I said, for background screeners. He said, do you do background checks? I said, yes, I am the first background screener in Africa. Oh, after a long while, the guy, he wasn't asking me questions about visas again. He just was probing. And after a while, he said, do you know one thing? We need your service in-house. So I got a job in the US consulate and I got a 2-year visa for the first time. And by the time I came back, this man sent for me. Of course, I started working for them. And he said, you're a genius. I've sent a report about you to the White House. I was looking at him. I said, so what concerns me and White House? I said, they're going to call you very soon. And truly, they called me. And of course, I was there for 3 months. I was asking, so what do you want to do with me? And I said, I'm not staying here. They wanted me to stay. I said, I'm not staying here. You will steal this idea over here, then I won't have anything again. All right. So I hope somebody is listening to me. As you are leaving this campus today, leave this place energized. Leave this place with determination. Leave this place promising yourself that I'm going to stand out. I'm not going to make a meaning with my life. I'm going to build on the education I've learned here. to do something much more glorious for myself, for my family, and for this nation, Nigeria. So once again, I congratulate every one of you. And I tell you, there is no limit in heaven. You just need to keep going on, because the only person that can stop you from reaching far into the cloud is only one person, and that is you. Please don't stop yourself. Congratulations. God bless you.
The Vice Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, you are invited to present the convocation lecturer with award.
Thank you, Mr. Registrar. I'm sure we all agree that we have had a fantastic, very stimulating convocation lecture. And please join me one more time to applaud our guest lecturer, Pastor Tola Olugboju. Thank you very much. Please come forward as we present our award to you. May I invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics and ask the former governor please to join us in doing the honor of presenting with the award.
It was really exciting listening to you. And I congratulate the students for that wonderful opportunity. I am sure in the next few years, you'll not be able to quantify the impact that you have made. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor and the management of UNIMED, it is my pleasure and privilege indeed to present this to you.
Yes, you when I get you, when I get you, leave my back away, leave my back away, Abi adu go, abi adu go.
Faba, Faba, yeah, I'm here, I'm here. Thank you.
Ó ṣe bí ọlọ́run bá wọn ní kò lè pọ́sibù tuntun rẹ kí bàbá bá mi ṣe. Bàbá bá mi ṣe. Wọ́n ní kò sáyé lọ. Wọ́n yẹ kọjá ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ mi. What are you doing here? Give me this. Give me this.
Parí ọ̀rọ̀ dáadáa rẹ̀. Sọlá, wájú microphone.